I guess I'm getting a little rusty here. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me for a quick update of ADP's Analyst Day, which happened today, September 13th in New York City at ADP's Innovation Lab, a beautiful location in the Chelsea part of Manhattan. We've been there before. It's good to be back after last year's event happened in Pasadena. Sorry, I was distracted by my own music background here, hearing myself getting a little rusty. So what are the takeaways? First of all, ADP under tremendous, or to a certain point, noticeable pressure from an activist investor, Pershing Square, putting the pressure with board election alternative slate was going to go down in November on the existing management. Kudos to CEO Rodriguez to address it right head on with ADP's arguments that ADP is innovative, has competent management, has an innovative board, and has a positive track record. Interesting also to see the additional numbers being poured in R&D, which is a significant increase. My impression is ADP has a good case to defend that challenge, but I'm not a financial analyst, so no merits from that perspective. So let's focus on what we learned at the event. To me, the biggest is Stuart Sackman shared and Carlos Rodriguez referred to, that ADP is moving to the public crowd. I pressed on a little more, and it turned out that Stuart Sackman wants to keep this independent. That's a very similar stance we see from other major vendors like SAP. In the case of ADP, surprisingly not really on pressure. The first mentioned one was AWS. And as I figured out later, it's in conjunction with the AWS partnership with VMware. Like many other vendors in the space, ADP is significantly virtualizing VMware. So that partnership between AWS and VMware definitely helps ADP. ADP has a great relationship, is a major buyer of servers and hardware and software in general. So has good relationships with all technology vendors in general, and certainly has a very good insight how well and support is going well, as we learned in Daily MC Word, the capability to run a VM on AWS is good. But what's important for ADP customers is that this allows ADP to significantly save CapEx, which was going into servers, into data centers, and move that to OpEx, and then hopefully use that CapEx to invest even more into their products. So that's the implication for customers, why it's my biggest, hopefully, I think the most impactful takeaway. The other part, which is the mega project going on in ADP, apart from many other things, is Global Cloud Connect. This mythical, announced 1 year ago, end-to-end connect everything that matters to customers. We saw again a good presentation by Melissa Jimenez, who's spearheading that effort. I believe it's called a product owner inside. Tremendous challenges to get this done. Many people have tried this in the past. Nobody has really succeeded with it. Huge prize for ADP and its customers, of course, when this works, making on a global level all the relevant many interfaces between HR systems to work. So project is on track. Early in 2018, the first customers were out. Also learned out it's going to be a wave rollout. It's not going to ADP stopping in January, but it's going to start with another wave or batch of customers who are piloting in February, March, and so on. So we should see significant traction and feedback in 2018, and ADP also promised like later in 2017, this year, to learn a little more about ADP Global Cloud Connect. Third one, the data cloud, wise move by ADP. I mean, sitting on all this information, very good to consolidate the information, make it available for benchmarking. One of the things we consistently hear from executives making decisions about systems, that even if they don't want to use ADP or will not use ADP, they really see the value of ADP's over 30 million people being paid and the capability to salary benchmarking. More things coming around flight risk. The major news on data cloud is a move towards support of mobile and the capability to support an assistant. The ADP didn't want the chief data scientist, Mark Rington, one call it a smart assistant or give it a name even, but it understands what you're typically looking for in a reporting perspective and what your next capability was, all the way to understanding, well, maybe you want to run payroll and now schedule payroll. Tons of things. The most interesting thing from a platform innovation, as ADP is also innovating on its platform, was the capability to build mini apps, very tiny, self-contained, potentially low-code, no-code applications to solve specific little problems. And that's very interesting because enterprise software has always been this humongous monolith, which was very hard to configure, very hard to run for customers, very hard to use for users. Lots of reasons why it is like this. It doesn't have to be like this in the future. So really good to see an alternative approach to break off the monolith, build more little micro apps, mini apps, as ADP calls them, which solve a certain little problem and allow what's very important, doing the same thing in different ways, right? So far, enterprise software has always said there's one way, and if you need more ways, we'll configure it, but there's one way of doing something, and that way fits better or not to some enterprise or industries. The mini app should give significantly more flexibility. We should learn more about them. Very bullish to learn and understand more of them. Coming to my overall point of view, ADP keeps pouring money into R&D. ADP is probably, we can't compare it because the other large vendors don't break out the results. Clearly, it's not only HCM vendors, it's probably the largest HCM vendor out there. The move to public cloud is a very good move. Independence of IaaS vendor equally. I'll have to see how that flashes out. And it frees up CapEx for R&D, and R&D is really the part which is in this competition for building the next generation of HCM, where we heard a lot of vision from Don Weinstein, from Carlos Rodriguez, from Stuart Sackman, how this could be looking. I think ADP is not short on vision. ADP is also not short on executing, but it would be always never hurts to go a little faster. And if there's any positive thing from the Pershing Square part, it definitely focused the ADP management. If I compare the other 3 analyst days I've been, this was the first one which was completely only dedicated to product. And that's what really matters in my view, because customers buy products. All the other related services don't really play a role if the product isn't right. So I think that's at least a nice side effect. I'm sure very stressed ADP senior managers don't see it like this, but I think it will make ADP only stronger, at least from my impression today on September 13th. This is, of course, again, way too long. I hope the quality helps. This is Holger Mueller from Constellation Research. Check out on Twitter at Holger MU, HOLGRMU. Tons of tweets about the event. Twitter available for you. There's a story file out there which I also promote on Twitter, which has all the collections. There's the one slide out there which summarizes pretty much what I'm talking about here in one slide in PowerPoint. If you don't want to watch this, or have time to watch this. Thanks for watching this. Like this video. Speak to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.